All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023, and of course, we just finished with Week 11, so it's only natural. It's only the next move. It's only right to go into Week 12 and see what we have going on Thanksgiving Day week. We have a pretty cool week. We have 3 games on Thursday, a game on Friday, so we have a pretty busy start of the week. We have 4 games during the regular week, and then, of course, 12 games on the weekend because there are no bye weeks, which we'll see in a second. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. We have a lot going on this week, so before we jump right into everything and go over our last week's record and everything like that, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, leave your picks down below. That's the most important thing, is the picks, the comments. I like to read those, respond to all of them, see how you're doing on your picks, leave your record, how you did last week, what your picks are this week. Always fun. We've been doing it all year, so let's jump in and look at what our record is. Sorry to do the YouTube stuff at the beginning. It's just, you got to get that out of the way and move on to the rest of the video. So, enjoy the rest of the video without any of that YouTube mumbo jumbo. So last week we did really good. We went 10-4. Could have been a little better, but we had a few games wrong. Nothing really to complain about. Just a solid week overall, 10-4, bringing us to 164. We hit the century mark. We're improving. We're at 61% overall on the season. Pretty solid. I'm starting to actually like my overall record. It's starting to look a little cleaner, and we're hoping to add 16 wins to the record this week. So pretty good. Like we said, there are no bye weeks this week because of the holidays, I'm guessing. It's been a weird bye schedule. I'm used to it being like bye weeks start in like week 6, I think, or something like that, and then they're just solid the rest of the way through. But this year they're doing it kind of strange. So no one's off this weekend, so we got a whole 16 games to go over. Nice big full slot, and yeah. Excuse me. That's about it. Let's go into Thursday. Thanksgiving Day football. Let's see. Who do we got first? Of course, it'll be the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be covering this game. The Lions are favored by 7.5 with an over-under of 46.5. And again, the lines are always included from FanDuel. I make all my picks and go through and add the lines afterward, just to see where everything's at and to kind of get an idea of like how the league is seeing, all the fun stuff that lines include. They're mainly for you guys. The Packers are 4-6, coming off a good win versus the Chargers, 23-20. Lions are coming off a very ugly win, but they still got the win against the Bears, 31-26. Basically, the reason I'm still leaning on Green Bay or on the Lions in this game, going for the sweep of the season, is, again, the home field advantage is going to be huge. I think that's going to be a big determiner in this game. The Packers offensively still are kind of hit and miss, very inconsistent. They only managed 23 against the Chargers. Again, Chargers play pretty decent defense, but watching Detroit drop 41 on them the week before makes you go, all right, so the Packers, though they looked better on offense and Jordan Love had a great game, it still kind of feels like one of them things where the offense is inconsistent, hit and miss, streaky. Can we count on them for doing it another game in a row? The Lions are going to come out of this game obviously playing this like they did in the first one. There's going to be, for a while, if you're a Packers fan, it's kind of similar to the way the Patriots get handled by their division. The Patriots get played like Tom Brady is still the quarterback of the Patriots inside of that division. So I'm going to imagine the Packers for a couple more years are going to be played like they still have Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. We've seen that kind of in the first game when the Lions came out like a bat out of hell and tried to score and like kill them immediately. So I'm guessing we'll see some of that again. I don't know how well the Packers defense is going to do against the Lions offense. That's white hot right now. The Lions probably were looking ahead of the Bears to this game, to the Packers, one of their least liked teams. So I would imagine the Lions win this because, one, the Packers' offensive struggles. Lions are very good at offense this year. We don't know if Aaron Jones is going to play. It's kind of, there's just a few things that go against the Packers in this one. And I can imagine this is a very important game for the Lions. I don't know. Feels like a mismatch. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, we go on to the game everybody wants to see. It's the Commanders taking on the Cowboys. Cowboys are 10.5-point favorites with an over-under of 48.5. Commanders coming off a 31-19 loss to the Giants. And Cowboys are coming off a 33-10 win versus the Panthers, which was weirdly close until the fourth quarter. It was like a 7-point game for the majority of the game. So it was weird. A lot of people thought the Panthers could upset the Cowboys last week, and it was like a weird game that became a blowout at the very end. It was a weird one. But we have the Commanders. We have the Cowboys. Really hard to pick the Commanders after they gave up 31 to DeVito and the Giants. It's like, well, their defense got the absolute hell beat out of them by Tommy DeVito and Saquon Barkley. and like their offense was just turning the ball over left and right, giving it back to the Giants defense, which is partially the reason why I think the Cowboys will win this. The Cowboys defense will probably cause similar fits for the Commanders, create similar pressure, create similar turnover opportunities for the Cowboys. So again, it just feels like another mismatch, kind of like the Packers-Lions. It's a division game, so it could be a little closer. But like when you think of the Cowboys' defense, the way their offense has been playing, the way the Commanders defensively have been lately, and the way that their offense has been kind of like streaky, hit and miss all year, you'd have to imagine the Cowboys can kind of come in here and bully this one. Plus, the Cowboys got to win this game because like the rest of their schedule is brutal from here on out, I believe. It's like, oh, the real schedule starts soon. So give me the Cowboys, and it could be a decent game. I don't know. 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the primetime game, the big game of the night, Thursday night football, if you will. The 49ers take on the Seattle Seahawks. San Francisco's coming off a 27-14 win versus the Bucs. They appear to be back. And the Seahawks are coming off a 17-16 loss versus the Rams, in which they lost a few players. Some guys went down with injuries. We're not really sure how healthy Geno's going to be. He came back into the game. He's got an elbow bruise. It's kind of... So we got the Seahawks. They're going to be at like banged up health status on a short week going up against the Niners, who are pretty much healthy, playing good football, back, ready to get revenge for that 3-game skid they went on. So here's where I see that's why I see the 49ers winning. They're favored by 7. It's an over-under 42.5. Basically, it's just like with all the weird things going on with Seattle and the fact that they're banged up, short week, the fact that they're home is why I have it as a close game. I do like home teams on short weeks, but it's just one of them like weird gut feelings where you're like, man, this is one of them rare instances that the home team is probably not going to win. You could imagine the 49ers defense causing fits to a banged up Seattle team. Just kind of shutting them down. We've seen the Seahawks struggle on offense this year against pretty good defenses, so there are times where, you know, Seattle's offense has been streaky, inconsistent, kind of the buzzwords of this stream so far, or of this little video, streaky and inconsistent. And that's kind of what we've seen out of Seattle's offense this year. They've had good games, they've had bad games. I would imagine the 49ers are going to produce them to have kind of a, you know, like a game they had against the Rams where it's like, yeah, those are my Thanksgiving Day picks. Now we go on to oh wow, I forgot to put on a effect on this one. Black Friday football, kind of a new thing given to Amazon. 3 o'clock Eastern Standard, we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the New York Jets. The Dolphins are 9.5 point favorites with an over-under of 40.5. Yeah, I got the Dolphins winning this one. The Jets are in a miserable spot at quarterback. For some reason, they committed to Zach Wilson being the backup for Aaron Rodgers this year when it's like very obviously they shouldn't have did that. It's like everybody but them apparently knew that Zach Wilson wasn't like a good NFL quarterback, probably not even a backup caliber quarterback. So again, this is kind of what they get for committing to Wilson the way they have, and now they're starting Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian's the backup. So if you ask me, do I think that team can beat the Miami Dolphins? The answer is no. I think the Dolphins have been playing pretty decent defense the last couple weeks, so that's going to be miserable for the Jets offense, who's been pretty much non-existent all season, except for like one game against the Chiefs, I think. I think that was the game, right? I know they beat the Eagles, but they've had like one decent offensive game, and I think that was the Chiefs. Yeah, so I can imagine the Dolphins being able to score against them. I know the Jets defense is pretty good, pretty solid this year, but they might, you know, that stage where some defenses just give up because of how bad the offense is. Well, with the Bills dropping 32 on them, and I know there's some defensive scoring and blah, 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 it just kind of indicates the Jets defense maybe threw the towel in, if you will. All right, I got the Dolphins beating the Jets. Should be a pretty easy win for the first place Miami Dolphins. It's crazy to say. All right, let's get to the slack of games. We got 6 to go over here. We got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams coming off a bye. Falcons are favored by 1.5 with an over-under of 42.5. Falcons are the home team, but again, the quarterback situation's kind of weird there. I don't really trust their offense. Yeah, they can score on the ground. They can run the football. But I think the Saints can play good enough run defense to kind of shut that down. They can play good enough pass defense to frustrate the Falcons' limited passing abilities. And then the Saints' offense has been pretty solid this year. They've been scoring lately. They've been good the last few weeks. So I can imagine against the Falcons' defense that's really hit and miss. They'll have some good weeks. They'll have bad weeks. I don't know. I like the Saints division game. Saints do really well in their division, whether they're on the road, whether they're home. Their defense is kind of the only thing I'm a little worried about. Like normally with the Saints, you don't worry about their defense. It's their offense. But it's kind of like the reverse this year. So I don't know. I like the Saints to win this one. I don't really ever pick the Falcons unless you have to pick the Falcons. So I'm going to go with the Saints. I just think they're a better team, better coached. I don't really trust that Arthur Smith guy anymore. He's kind of a dummy. The Steelers and the Bengals. It's Kenny Pickett versus a question mark. So it's the Steelers and the Bengals. Steelers are favored by 1.5 with an over-under of 34.5. Both teams coming off losses, 13-10 for the Browns for the Steelers, and the Bengals lost 34-20 to the Ravens. But more importantly, they lost Joe Burrow for the rest of the season with a wrist/hand tendon rupture or something. Hand injury, wrist injury, one of the two, whatever one you think it is. Yeah, we got Steelers, Bengals, two very probably impotent offenses going to be going at it this week. Don't really know what we'll see out of the Bengals. Really hard to pick them, especially with like a new quarterback against this defense. Division game. I'm going to be going with the Steelers in this one. Defense and the fact that the Bengals offense is such a giant question mark. It's really hard to pick them. It really is. If they were playing like a bad defensive team, maybe, but the Steelers seem like they can just shut them out. Here's like a mini game of the week. The Jaguars take on the Texans. This could be for first place in the division. I think it is. The Jaguars are 1.5 with an over-under of 47.5. Jaguars coming off the 34-14 win versus the Titans, and the Texans beat the Cardinals 21-16. Essentially, I just think the Jaguars are going to win this game. I think their offense, though it's been kind of streaky and consistent, I think it's overall pretty good. I think they'll be able to score against the Texans defense. Even though the Texans defense has been good this year, it's still, it's still not perfect. I don't really know. Have they gone up against an offense as dynamic as Jacksonville? Maybe they played Jackson already. I literally cannot remember if they've played yet. And I don't know. I feel like the Texans defensively, like they got lucky they were up against the Cardinals team that's very limited. The Cardinals don't play the best defense. They don't really play the best offense, and they barely escaped with a win. A lot of picks from Stroud. I can imagine the Jaguars are going to pick up on that, watch that tape, see what Stroud was doing wrong, amplify those mistakes with a better defense that the Jaguars do have. So I can imagine, again, now that we've seen kind of how you can make Stroud struggle, Jaguars have that tape. They look at it. They execute the same thing. And with a better defense, that should be all kinds of problems for the Texans, which is basically why I think, because we've finally seen that first like glimpse of a struggle from Stroud. So I'm wondering if the Jaguars execute and amplify those struggles. And this is where we start to see, all right, can Stroud deal with the adjustment? Because in the NFL, a young player can do really good, and then there's tape on him. And then the adjustment happens to like the guys play, and then the league figured them out. And then it becomes on that young player. Can they adjust to the adjustments that are made against them? And I think we'll see that start this week with the Jaguars. Plus, I just think the offense will do what they got to do to win. Give me the Jags. Oh, shit. I don't care about this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Indianapolis Colts. Colts coming off a bye. Bucs coming off that loss to the 49ers that we discussed. Colts are 2.5-point favorites with an over-under of 43.5. I like the Colts to win this game. They're at home. That's a slight advantage. I like them off a bye. They're well rested. I think defensively they can do enough to cause some fits to the Buccaneers. Just kind of get after Baker, cause pressure, shut down the run. Those are things the Colts are pretty much capable of doing. Offensively, it may be a little bit of a struggle, but the Bucs defense kind of looked a little bit beatable the last couple weeks. They've been giving up points, and the Colts offensively have been pretty solid this year, except for a couple games. The one against the Patriots, the most glaring. I don't know. I just think that overall, the Colts are a little bit better of a team than Tampa. So I'm going to go with the Colts at home. Oh boy, the Tankathon, the game of the year probably. The New England Patriots take on the New York Giants. Patriots are 3.5-point favorites with an over-under at 33.5. Patriots are coming off a bye. Giants beat the Commanders 31-19, and I'm picking the Giants. I think defensively they won't be able to do the Patriots, my favorite team, won't be able to get much going against this Giants defense that's been surprisingly really good this year, or at least the best part of the team, keeping them weirdly in games. Yeah, again, Giants defense will probably shut us down completely. I don't think the Patriots have an answer for the future code of this league. Tommy DeVito, Tommy P. Dimes, Tommy Goat. Yeah. I'm just picking the Giants because I want my team to lose so we can get a better draft pick. Go Giants. The Carolina Panthers take on the Tennessee Titans. Titans are favored by 4 with an over-under at 37. I'm not giving this game any kind of time or consideration. Only reason I gave the Patriots Giants any talk is because, I picked, that's my favorite team, so there's no reason to go over these last two games. They stink. I got the Titans winning. Let's go to one Uh-oh, I forgot to change it. This is 4 p.m. football. My slots are a little weird today. The Rams take on the Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 1.5 for some reason, with an over-under of 44.5. Rams coming off a 17-16 win versus the Seahawks. Cardinals coming off a 21-16 loss versus the Texans. The Rams kind of dominate the Cardinals. You can just look at the recent history. I think there's like one win, and that was like the Matthew Stafford-less Rams. So I'm going to be going with the Rams in this one. I think defensively, they'll pretty much just shut the Cardinals down. They held the Seahawks to 16. That's a good defense when they're playing good. Division game, I could imagine them going hard against the Cardinals to kind of just shut that down. Offensively, the Rams may not be very good. They may not do much. But again, hey, they beat the Seahawks, who are a better team than the Cardinals on every aspect. And the Rams kind of own the Cardinals. Go with the Rams over the Cardinals. Who cares? This is a pretty good one. The Cleveland Browns take on the Denver Broncos. Broncos are favored by 2.5 with an over-under at 35.5. I've been really liking what the Broncos have done, like, since the Miami game. They've seemingly turned around their entire season. But with this one, I'm just wondering if they have the offensive capabilities to hang with this Browns defense. They struggled against the Vikings defensively. Offensively, they scored a bunch of field goals and a late touchdown to win the game. And I'm wondering, is that going to be enough to be able to stop the the Browns defense? I could imagine them getting takeaways, just stopping the Broncos offense completely in its tracks. I think the Browns, one of the things the Broncos like to do is kind of run to set everything up. The Browns are pretty much just a brick wall. There's nothing to run to. Again, so the way I'm looking at this is I just don't believe the Broncos have the offense to hang with the Browns, and the Browns, they can run the ball. I mean, the Broncos are not very good at run defense. They're like the worst team in the league. So I can imagine the Browns running the ball, utilizing their foot speed, the fact that they have more of a motion-based offense. Kevin Stefanski's a run guy, so you know what I mean? It just seems like the Browns, who have a run-first coach with a running offense, with a great defense, are set up to win this game against the Broncos, who don't defend the run well and play streaky. They play consistent offense. It's just not very many points. So give me the Browns over the Broncos. Kansas City Chiefs take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites with an over-under of 44. Chiefs are coming off that loss to the Eagles last night, 21-17, and the Raiders coming off a 20-13 loss to the Dolphins. I don't know. I got the Chiefs winning. They seem to own the Raiders. Raiders may play them close, but I can't remember the Raiders ever getting really close to an upset of the Chiefs. They might have, but Patrick Mahomes seems to own this team. It's like his stomping grounds. He likes to beat up on the Raiders. The Chiefs are going to be after revenge after a tough loss. They're going to want to flex their wings a little bit on offense and show they're not crappy. And while I do like what Antonio Pierce and company are doing, it's just this is like a terrible game to run into after a loss. It's like, damn, now we have to go against a way better defense than the Dolphins and the Chiefs, who beat the hell out of us with Mahomes all the time. So I'm going to be going with the Chiefs in this one. Would I be surprised if the Raiders won? Yeah, a little bit. Oh, there's one more 4 p.m. game. Bills take on the Eagles. This will be a good one. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites with an over-under of 48. Bills coming off a 32-6 win versus the Jets, and obviously the Eagles beat the Chiefs. We just said that. I like the Eagles to win this game. For number one, they're at home. I think the home field advantage with two teams that are pretty good is always going to be huge. I also there's another thing where I think the Eagles play their best football against the best teams in the league. So we seen that again last night. The Eagles look a lot sharper. They play better defense. They coach better. Overall, they just play better football the better your team is. And then we look at like the Bills. I don't really know. They're super inconsistent. I think that's the best way to put it. Like they'll look like world beaters against the Jets, and then the week before that they'll look like crap. So it's kind of hard to determine what Bills team is actually going to go take the field against the Eagles. Are you going to get the team that just beat up on the Jets, or do you get the team that's lost 5 games through week 11? You know what I mean? It's like, well, which team are you getting? And I feel like with the Eagles, we know what team we're going to get. The team that plays the best teams in the league the best that they can. With the Bills, it's like they could be really good that week, or we could see the 5-loss Bills show up where Allen's turning the ball over 3-4 times a game, and if he does that, then it's just no shot they win this game. It's so, you know what I mean? It's like it feels like there's so many weird, like, but with the Bills, and with the Eagles, it's like, yeah, they play their best football against teams that are the best teams. They play to their competition, and the Bills can be a good team. So I'm guessing the Eagles are going to come into this game thinking the Bills are a good team, playing out of their minds. And I don't know if the Bills at their current makeup can hang with that. So I'm going to go with the Eagles over the Bills. Should be one hell of a game, though. Sunday Night Football. We got the Ravens taking on the Chargers. The Ravens are favored by 4 with an over-under of 46.5. Yeah, I can't really pick Staley and his Chargers after they lost another game to the Packers because of his miserable coaching ability. So I'm going to be going with the Ravens in this one. It doesn't really matter the rest of the game. Honestly, it doesn't. It's Brandon Staley's the coach against Harbaugh. That's going to be a loss. Basically, I think the Ravens are going to be really ready to go. They're well rested. They have the long week because they played Thursday, so they're going to have a couple more days to plan for the Chargers, so they'll be able to deal with that high-powered Chargers offense. And then you have the Ravens can probably score against the Chargers defense that doesn't do good against good teams because Brandon Staley can't coach. So yeah, I'll be going with the Ravens in this one because Brandon Staley's the head coach of the Chargers, and Brandon Staley ruined my season prediction by the Chargers being crappy. So I don't know how you can be this bad with that good of a team. It's like, dude, every position group you have is better than most teams. How are you 4-6? This team should be like 8-2 in first place in their division, not 4-6 and not making the playoffs again. Jesus, dude. This should be a battle of 8-3 or 8-2 versus 8-3. Like, genuinely, that's what this should be. But Brandon Staley. Monday Night Football. I don't give a shit about this game at all. The Bears take on the Vikings. Vikings are favored by 3.5 with an over-under of 45. Ugh, this is like the worst. This is probably the worst remaining Monday Night Football game because the rest of them are all really good. They're all like Eagles-Chiefs level, and then we got this fucking poo-poo game. Yeah, basically the Bears aren't very good. They almost beat the Lions. That was pretty crazy. Vikings should be able to win this one. I got the Vikings by the score of 28-20. All right, that's pretty much that for the week. So we got another video down the drains. That's week 12 in the books, down the drain, in the dump, however you want to consider it. We got it done. We made our way through it. Yeah, that was pretty good. I think we have a good week there. I think I'm going 16-0. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section. Let me know your picks record. Let me know how you're doing this year. All those things, your picks, whatever you think of the video. It can be good, negative, mean, positive, whatever. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. If you're still listening, I appreciate you. We go over the YouTube stuff again one more time at the end. Yeah, that's week 12 though. I'm gonna get out of here before the video is much longer. We made it 23 minutes, so that's pretty good. Again, thank you so much for listening. Have a good rest of your morning, mid-afternoon, midday, evening, nighttime. That weird time between 3 and 7 a.m. is like, what is that? That's not night. It's like early morning, dusk, twilight. I don't really know what to consider that. But anyway, whenever you watch this, just make sure you have a good one. Thank you again for listening all the way through. Can't believe we're in week 12. Season's going to be over soon. That sucks. All right, have a good one, guys. Thanks again. Have a good rest of the day. Peace.